Okay, let's go.
Welcome everyone to the Oz MJ Show. I haven't told Jess that was the name of this show, so what you're seeing there is actually a live, candid reaction of Jess hearing the Oz MJ Show. Why Oz MJ, you ask, Jess?
I do
Because,
ask.
okay, good. Because we're an Australian show and we're covering all things Australian medical cannabis. And we have Matthew Dent and Jessica Lee. So Oz MJ.
Makes sense.
Kind of lame, but hey, what's in a name? What I want to engage everyone about first is that Jess and myself are both industry professionals. We're going to dive into that soon and we're going to give you guys some feedback on what we do and why you should listen to us effectively. Apart from because we're good people, but also we want to give everyone a quick disclaimer. So we want everyone to know that we are both employees in the medical cannabis industry. However, our thoughts, views, and opinions don't always reflect those of our employers. So if you want to come kick some butts, we're here and we'll, of course, be apologetic, but our employers don't really have a lot to do with the show other than supporting us.
Pretty much.
Cool. Also, in terms of health and medical advice, the only advice we plan to give people is to exercise regularly, get some sunlight when you can, eat your greens. That's about it, eh?
And anything further, speak to your GP or your local doctor.
100%. There it is, folks. Always consult a medical professional.
100%.
Cool. Now, where do we start, Jess? I know we've had some pretty cool discussions recently about the kind of things we want to cover on this show. What are your thoughts? I remember us talking about the whole process of getting a script, and I do have some notes on that. But what do you think, mate?
I think we should just maybe. What about you, Matt? What's your background? Let's tell everyone.
That's true. I
where
got
you're
excited.
from.
Yeah, I did get excited. So, okay, I'll consider myself a medical cannabis industry veteran, if you will. I was involved around 2017 with the very fledgling medical cannabis industry in Australia. At that stage, I worked for a Dutch horticulture company and was actually more involved with some of the larger greenhouse operations around Australia and the world. And that was more high-tech tomato growing, high-tech cucumbers, high-tech roses, flowers, ornamentals. So it was very much more of a technical role for a large horticulture company. However, around that same time, some Australian medical cannabis companies started to decide how they were going to attack this and what they wanted to do. And at that stage, they invested into greenhouses of the high-tech variety. And in that stage and that point, I was able to get in contact with some of those guys. We obviously had value to add being a high-tech Dutch horticulture company. There is a Dutch connection there, Jess. And as a result, we were able to help those guys get started and get on their feet. Fast forward a little bit, I was lucky enough to go and work for a couple of those companies, develop my game a little bit and learn a little bit more about cultivation, which is the side I come from. So I'm your cultivation contact and can explain how things get from a seed to Jess's doorstep effectively. And yeah, that's really brought me to now where I am a partner in a medical cannabis cultivation facility. It's an indoor facility licensed by the Office of Drug Control. As a result, I hope to bring you a lot of insight and intel from that side of the business. Jess, over to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think what makes our podcast different is that you get your side and then you get my side, which I come from 15 years in community pharmacy and the past year and a half going on to eventually Yeah. Going on 2 years in the medicinal cannabis industry, and I work on the dispensary side. So you get, from my end, the opinions from the doctors, the feedback from the patients, we get the script side, and I get the final product that Matthew produces. And I get the joy of recommending and selling it.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say something else there, Jess. But yeah, good save at the end there. I guess I'm happy to let everyone know that I am a scripted medical cannabis patient as well. And yeah, as a result, I can definitely, give you guys the insight and some understanding of what it's like from a patient perspective as well.
For sure. I mean, like, let's disclose it. We're both medicinal patients, and we both can give that insight of a personal point of view. Granted, I will disclose, not one strain is for everyone. And like one strain will work great for Matthew, and one strain will work great for me, but not vice versa. So we will
Yeah,
disclose
well,
that as well.
yeah, for sure, and that's the kind of not advice. I'll steer clear of saying advice, but that's the kind of, I guess, track record or insight that we can bring, having, of course, tried lot of different things. Your vapes, your bongs, your methods that aren't necessarily recommended by the TGA,
Yeah.
and then different formats in terms of gummies, vapes, oils.
Oil. Same
Like,
wavelength, man.
yeah. So we're going to cover all that cool stuff, guys. What I would like to jump into now, and I'm going to put you in the hot seat straight away, Jess, because I've already
Oof.
established an early track record of doing that. I have a couple of mates who recently got scripts. Pardon me, and I encourage those guys to go out and get a script because they were waiting for dudes in parking lots. They were being disappointed by crappy products. They were also fearful at some stages that stuff may have been fly sprayed or had PGRs or similar in it because they were getting sweats and things like that. And then there's also periods where the guy just doesn't have anything, and so you can't get what helps you for a period.
Or even they take it and they go in the house to collect it, and they never come back out.
That's a legit thing, not trying to scare people, but
No,
and I guess the
it
part you're highlighting
happens.
this, yeah, is that there's a criminal element to this, right?
There's 100% criminal element. It could go from them just taking your money to taking something else, and you're just like, why risk it when there's a legal avenue? And a lot of people are using this for a reason if you investigate further. And as long
Yeah,
as you're transparent, that's the most important thing that I stress to people. Be transparent with your doctor. Tell
yeah,
them that you're using it for sleep. Tell them you're using it for pain. Let's
yeah,
go through the process.
yeah. You're not going to go to your doctor's clinic and wake up in a bar full of ice with your kidney missing. So there's
Exactly.
there's a good enough reason to do it the proper way, folks. All right, I'm going to hit you with these questions, Jess. So
Go.
this was gathering ideas for the podcast. Top questions. Here you go, Jess. You're in the hot seat. How are repeats decided on? Is it totally random, or is there a common method of doctors deciding how many repeats you get?
There is a common method. And the common method that I see is the repeats are decided on A, your intervals, B, how long your script is for. Most of the time, the doctors are prescribing for 3 months at a time before follow up. Now, this is because technically your scripts are legally valid for 6 months because of the nature of the medication. It's still considered under the same classification as opioids. So that's your methadone, that's your oxycodone, that's your endone, those heavy hitters. This it's still classified under that.
And is that a
So
Schedule 8, Jess?
it is a Schedule 8. So in Australia, medication are classified under S2, S3, which is Schedule 2, Schedule 3, which is Panadol, Nurofen, stuff you can get over the counter at your local chemist.
Mhm.
Then you have Schedule 4, which is your prescription medication. So, like your antibiotics. Those ones there, you can see the doctor. They don't have to get license, like a special approval for to prescribe it to you. Medicinal cannabis and opioids go under Schedule 8, which the doctors have to get a special license for, and they have to get approval to prescribe it for.
Mhm.
So it's not just like prescribing antibiotics, unfortunately. Hopefully
Yep.
it changes, but it's not there yet.
So
So
love it
when
or hate it, that's the state of play at the moment.
that's the state of play at the moment, and that's what we have to work with. With
And for my repeats, Jess, if I get one repeat from a doctor, is that something that's common, or is that something I might want to question?
It depends on how often you've been to the clinic. If it's your first appointment, most of the time they won't give you a repeat because
Mhm.
they want to follow up to make sure it's actually working for you. It's no point giving you a repeat so you can get another bottle if it doesn't work.
Mhm.
You're going to be wasting your money.
Mhm.
So that is the method behind that madness.
There we go.
Some other doctors are on a trial basis. So they are still trying to figure out what prescription or strain is going to work for you best.
Mhm.
So they could give you one repeat because they want to follow up in a month's time instead
Yeah.
of a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
They want to extend it a little bit more. So it depends on your doctor's care management plan. And you, as a patient, have every right to ask about this before you sign up to the clinic. You can ask
That's a
the
good
clinic,
point.
going, what is your care management plan like? To me personally, yes, it does cost a little bit more, but having this sort of plan means you can try different ones under the guidance of your doctor so that you can find the strain that works for you.
Mhm.
Because a lot of times I have patients that are prescribed 3 month script of a strain that doesn't work, and they spend that whole 3 months going, this isn't working, this isn't working, this isn't working. I'm just wasting my money. And they
Yeah.
end up using more and more and more. And so it's a give and take sort of thing. You have to weigh up the pros and cons that yes, you do end up using a little bit more money, but in the long run, you end up saving because you know what is working.
Yeah. Look, and dude, I just joined a gym, and I'm happy to pay a personal trainer $80 for half an hour so that he can show me how to use the equipment properly, so that he can familiarize me with the processes, so that he has an understanding of the sort of things he can put in place to help my body and what I need. And I see this as exactly the same. You don't just want to be
100%.
handed something and sent on your way, regardless of how much you think you know. I think it's really helpful and beneficial for people to be guided through the process a little bit. And especially, potentially individuals that haven't really had a lot of exposure, but this could really help. The last thing you want is for them to have a bad experience straight off the bat and then push it to the side and go back to other things that might not be as beneficial.
100%. And that's why sometimes I have a lot of people ask me, it's like, oh, this clinic gives like free consults. And it's like, yeah, you might get a free consult, but what sort of products are you going to be getting? Like, are you going to be channeled into certain products? Because there is that wall sort of thing. Like, nothing in this world is free,
That's a good point.
and nothing, absolutely nothing in this world is free. So there has to be a catch 22 somewhere. So if you speak to Matt and I, we will recommend doctors or speak to doctors that are brand agnostic because they are in it for the people. They are
Yeah.
in it for your wellness journey and what's good for you. And unfortunately, brand agnostic ones don't get kickbacks.
Yes, and so we're definitely wading into controversial territory early, Jess, which I love. I love it. Let's grab
Sorry,
some headlines
sorry.
early. Very sassy of you. But
Controversial here.
you raise really good points there, Jess. And what I will say is, beware of wise men bearing gifts, but not all wise men bearing gifts are necessarily doing the wrong thing or are bad.
Yeah.
There's multiple ways you can structure this baby, and that's, I guess, the reality of it. Be careful though, because there are some booby traps and snares out there. There
For
are different
sure.
ways you can structure this thing, and not all of it's terrible. But yes, indeed, I think we've this won't be the first time we talk about this. This is episode 1, but I can see us coming back to this a bit. I think both of us are
Oh,
definitely passionate about the way we want to see things.
yes.
So, yes, strap
And
your seatbelts in.
guarantee people are going to be asking us about that because the amount of times I get asked about this is ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah,
So if you
we're
do
not
have a
in,
further question, let us know.
we are no longer in Kansas, Toto. So get ready to see behind the curtain at some stage. All right, I'm
Well,
going to move to
that's what we're
question.
here for.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. 100%. I'm going to move to question 2.
Let's
We
go.
don't want to play all our cards at once. All right. How are doctors and clinics deciding what to prescribe?
Well, that loops back around. It depends on the doctor. I mean, the if you go to a doctor that is in it for you, then they are going to prescribe the best strain and lineage and terpene profile. If it's flower wise,
Mhm.
that's going to have um, the best results for your condition. Not one strain fits all. So
That's a good point, Jess. And I guess
yeah,
what I'd like to add to that is give us a chance. Give these guys a chance. Let them have a couple of goes at it. This might be again borderline medical advice, which we want to steer clear of, but understand, like you said, that it's not a one size fits all, and it may need a couple of goes to get you what you
yeah.
need. So, in terms of
Listen to your
that,
doctor.
yes,
That's essentially it. Is listen to your doctor that if they're trained in medicinal cannabis properly, then they will be talking to you about strains and terpenes. And if they are, then you have to really listen to them because they know what they're talking about.
and unfortunately, there will be, circling back to what we just discussed, there will be a couple that are potentially prescribing what they are getting paid to prescribe you. And
Yeah.
that's a reality and the nature of the beast. Again, that might tie in with other components of how clinics are run. That's not for us to really, decide on or comment on. So I guess that is another component, though, is maybe in some cases the doctor's just prescribing what they're getting paid to prescribe.
Exactly. And that's why when people ask me and go, what do you think about this doctor? It's not my place to judge the doctor at all. The only thing I can say is you as a patient can ask your doctor, what do you think about this strain? Or tell me why you are recommending this one to me, please. Explain
Yeah.
to me so I can understand my medication. You
Mhm.
don't demand. That's the last thing we're asking you to do is don't demand. Your
Mhm.
doctor, trust your doctor, but you can ask, Doc, I trust you, but what strain is this? Why are you picking this for me? So I
Mhm.
can better understand.
Yeah, we're all on a journey, and I think very much so that medical cannabis doctors are as well. And so I do commend them for their bravery in what is a new and up and coming industry.
For
That I'm
sure.
guessing, a lot of the doctors that I know, they know they're helping people. They don't always know why, but they know that this is helping. So it's a
And
fantastic thing.
in saying that as well, if you find a strain that works for you, tell your doctor so that they can know.
Yes, yes, that's a good point. That's a good point,
Definitely
because
tell your doctor.
give them feedback, help them on their journey. Definitely.
Yes.
All right. How does each state vary with their rules regarding things like substitution, for example?
Oh my goodness. This is the bane of my existence in the dispensary section. It's not one size fits all across all the states.
No, no.
Unfortunately,
We've got a very segmented setup going on, and I guess that's reflective of Australia in general, right? With the driving
yes.
laws, with the ACT legalization, with the grey areas in South Australia, with the draconian state we live in Victoria.
It's
Shout out to Rachel Payne and the amazing things she's doing to drive things
yes.
forward, David Eddershank as well. But Jess, can we give some sort of understanding or knowledge around how states vary? I'll get the ball rolling by saying in Victoria, as I understand, if I'm not happy with my 22% THC medication, I am able to discuss with my pharmacist and potentially swap that or exchange that to another medication as long as it is the same THC. Correct, true or false?
It's a bit of a gray area. That's the honest answer. It's a gray area. We don't have it in black and white that you cannot 100%. We do have in black and white that you technically cannot because it's not bioequivalent.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, we know that Panadol and a generic Panadol are both paracetamol 500 milligrams. It has to
Yes.
be paracetamol, has to be 500 milligrams. That is bioequivalent.
Mm-hmm.
A Gorilla Glue compared to a cherry skunk, for example, we don't have the scientific backing that it is bioequivalent.
Yeah.
Because there's not one brand that has gone through and has said that this is purely delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinoid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is also why it's not on the PBS, so the Pharmaceutical Benefit Scheme.
It's the gift and the curse. It's the gift and the curse, people. It's the gift because there is so much about this magical plant that we still don't understand.
No.
However, it's the curse because pharmaceutically speaking, two are not the same.
Exactly. So, but that's also why it's not on the PBS, because we cannot 100% state that this is the ingredient and these are the testings for this ingredient, and it's just not as black and white as it has to be for medicine, unfortunately. And the rules and the
punters,
paperwork at the moment.
Yep. Punters at home, we don't always have the answers. We'll ask the big questions. We'll tackle the big topics. We don't always have the answers. But I think that's very eloquently put, Jess, nonetheless.
I mean, in WA, we have the strictest rules in Australia, I feel, in that our prescribing doctors are limited to 300 milligrams of THC inhaled per 24 hours, or
It's
40
very
milligrams
specific.
of oral THC per 24 hours. Very, very, very specific. But also, we have our politicians in WA for the Medicinal Cannabis Party, legalized cannabis party, have queried, where have they gotten this figure from? Like, what scientific paperwork do we have?
Exactly. And Jess, I was literally going to ask the same thing. So maybe there's a bit of commonality there in that outtake. So
because we used to be 500 milligrams of THC, and now it's being reduced. So I would love to see the paperwork. Absolutely, actually, not sarcastically or anything like that. Love to see the research behind where they are getting this figure from.
And I guess in general, common sense approach like that across the board would be amazing. Okay, I got one more question. So, okay, lucky last question. Do I have to go to the pharmacy that my doctor sent the script to, or can I take my script to any pharmacy?
It depends. If your doctor has issued you an e-script, yes, you can go to any pharmacy or dispensary you choose to. If you are ordering via an app or portal, you do have every right to ask for your scripts to be released to you, because you as a patient and a consumer legally allowed to go to whatever dispensary or pharmacy of your choosing. So if you're ordering via an app, just message your clinic and ask for them to release your scripts to yourself. They may ask which pharmacy you plan to go to. That's just so they can send your doctor's paperwork to them.
Mhm.
Because, as I mentioned before, your doctor has to be approved to prescribe medicinal cannabis, and we have to have that paperwork on file to dispense the medication.
Yes, and one thing I will add to that is the pharmacies and everyone else within the chain, from my understanding and from what I've seen so far, are very good at doing their due diligence. And there are various portals and apps you can use to verify that a legit doctor's produced the script and that a legit pharmacy is releasing the product. There are charlatans out there who have so far tried to skirt the system in various ways, shapes, and forms, which might be a fun thing to look at in another episode. But Jess,
For sure.
very well articulated answers there. Thank you for that, for answering those questions. And I legit put Jess on the spot with all of these. I didn't tell her what questions were coming, and so it was a little bit game show-esque, but nonetheless, you've done fantastically well. So thank you. Insert fake round of applause here. Guys, as we've said, we look forward to doing this again on a regular basis. It was amazing fun, and Jess, I can't wait to go on this journey with you. I think it's going to be really cool, and hopefully we can shed some light on a lot of different topics for people both within the industry and patients alike, without ruffling any feathers or stepping on toes, of course. And also want to invite everyone to drop as many comments, well wishes, positivity about my shirt, and recommendations. Let us know what you want to see. Let us know what you want to cover.
Tell us.
Yes, tell us where it hurts, not from a medical perspective, but from an information perspective. And we'll do our best to go out and reach out to all of our contacts within the industry. We are well connected. If you have questions and you feel like, everyone might want to know something or need to know something, hit us up. And if we don't have the answer, we'll go find it.
Yes. And if you are in the industry and feel you have something to give us or help us or some information to give to the community, please let us know, because we would love to have you on.
100%. The more guests, the more information, and the more positive vibes, the better. Boom.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your week, and we look forward to seeing you again on the Oz MJ Show. All right,